They did under extraordinary.
Because I never heard about the Sister Solitude, right?
Mhm.
And you know, even hearing that got me fired up.
People like Solitude. Also, Marie Angelique in Montreal. People like her too. I forget the year, about maybe around 1830s. She overheard her master say he was going to sell her because of her attitude. So she set Montreal on fire, tried to burn down the whole city. Hmm. Yeah, they captured her and tortured her, but she did a lot of damage, you know. So yeah,
I really appreciate the conversation, the sharing
okay.
of the information and the wisdom, and let the people know about your project too.
Yes, I would like to steer everyone to my website, Black Slave Revolts with an S, one word, blackslaverevolts.org. Okay. And you can also go to drifewilliams.com, but blackslaverevolts.org, and you will see it's 2 maps now. I just finished, hot off the press. It's only 2 weeks old. Yeah, it's 90% done, but it's live. You'll see 2 maps, one on the slave revolts, and then my new one is anti-colonial, like I mentioned, civil rights movements from 1944 to 1994. But what I realized after I started is you can't talk about 1944 unless you go back to 1934 and all the labor movements. And yeah, so I start with the labor movements, the role of the Communist Party, especially with the Scottsboro Boys. They were Marcus Garvey. And I always ask people, uh, how many chapters do you think Marcus Garvey had? He had over 1,240 different countries.
Which is wild.
And he still has active chapters. One in Costa Rica, and I know one in Namibia. I don't know about others, but there are active chapters of his movement. And of course, the two largest transnational movements would be the anti-apartheid movement and the Black Power movement. And you had Black Panthers in Israel, in India, in Australia, in East Timor. So I have all that on the map. And it's color coded red, black, and green after Honorable Marcus Garvey. And each marker not only gives you information, but it gives you, I'm into visuals. So they have images, I have video, and then at the end of each one, I have citations, scholarly citations. Because I don't want anybody to think, oh, this is just a Google map. I can just hit something. I want to maintain the integrity of the academic work and scholarship behind it.
How many years did you have to research to get this going?
Well, the slavery map, I would say maybe 8 years because I was working on other things. In between, I did my book, Police Brutality, a Philadelphia Story. I didn't put that little plug in. And and work, and I just kept putting it down. And then right before the pandemic, I don't know, ancestors told me, "Come on, girl, you need to finish this thing. Finish this right now." And I just focus right on it. So, and when I start focusing, I would say maybe less than a year. And I got that together. And then I put it online in African Heritage Studies Association's website right at the beginning of the pandemic. And I got over 236,000 views. So, and I don't know how people found that. And of course, the Smithsonian found it, and they wanted the ships. They just wanted the ships for their international exhibit, which Trump is presently going to close. I don't think he knows anything about it, but it's phenomenal in that they not only talk about slavery, they do what they call object pairing. They're comparing what happened in slavery and what's going on now. So I knew that one was going to come down. So they have slave shackles and handcuffs. And so, yeah, so they took the ships, and that's presently on display at we call it the Blacksonian that they're trying to close. That's going to be there in June, and it's going to travel throughout the world.
Can you, since you brought it up, can you explain some of the similarities between slavery in our modern day society?
Mm, that's a big question. I mean, that's a lot. When we look at the criminal justice system, we talked about self-image and hating ourselves and not being people. Um, the terms of lack of education, our housing, our health. Um, it's just in Barbados. This is my favorite place. I guess you. This is my second favorite place. They grew up eating sugar cane because they didn't have any food. And one guy told me that, his lunch was a bag of sugar, right? And Barbados today has the highest rate of amputees from diabetes. And so, I mean, it's directly related to high blood pressure, the hypertension. I came across interesting fact that Black people in America have higher blood pressure than people living in a refugee camp. Can you imagine that?
And do you think it's the food or the stress?
It's the
Yeah,
stress.
definitely think it's the stress.
It's the stress and the food. I mean, we're under constant, and it's just on a subtle level. You mentioned the colorism and yeah, it's a lot.
What do you say to people that said that say Black people have made a lot of progress?
Well, we have. It depends on how you look at it.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of time has passed. A lot of time, and if we look at where we should be in terms of the clock, we have not really progressed that much. But then if you look at it from where we were captured and oppressed to where we are now, then it looks like, and what's amazing is look at the period of history right after slavery. So between like 1868 and 1920,
That was a booming time.
you're talking about people coming from almost 99% illiteracy, right? With rags on a plantation. And you look at them in the 1920s, the hats and the genius and the writing and the art in that period of time. Mhm. It's
Access and
amazing.
opportunity, you know.
Yeah, yeah. It's,
Yeah.
it's amazing how so we gotta look. I try to look at things globally, and
And what's the most shocking thing you found doing your research that really, like, man, blew you away?
there was a lot of shocking things. It was a lot. But one thing well, of course, the punishments and all, but with the second Mac, with the civil rights movement, and I ask people this now, I said, what's the longest boycott during the civil rights movement? And everybody say the same thing. Montgomery bus boycott, what, 382 days, right? I found a boycott led by high school students in Orlando, Florida, that lasted 3 years. Yes.
What were they both at?
Every day after school, they would go to the lunch counter and they'd sit down. As soon as they get there, the waitress would take the sign down, closed. And they would just sit there. And then they get up to go home and she put the sign back. 3 years. They were even arrested and held for $250 bail each. Do you imagine? And at that time, and the community raised the money, got them out of jail, and they went back. It took 3 years till 1963 for them to integrate that lunch counter. I thought that was so amazing, and of course, I also like the enforcers. I like the idea of them beating people up for never going. But it's just, I was looking at the maps yesterday, and I was thinking there are so many stories, so many, and I just really caught